Hello, thank you for joining with me. We are in A Course in Miracles workbook for students. Part 2 of the workbook, section 9, What is the Second Coming? And this is lesson 301. And God himself shall wipe away all tears. Footnote 112, Revelation 21:4. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. In the Bible, God will wipe away all tears through a transformation of the world in which evil is vanquished and death itself is overcome. In the above lesson, God will wipe away all tears because when we cease to judge, we will see His world, the real world, a happy world that is inherently free of pain and loneliness. Father, unless I judge, I cannot weep, nor can I suffer pain or feel I am abandoned and unneeded in this world. This is my home because I judge it not, and therefore it is only what you will. Let me today behold it uncondemned. Through happy eyes, forgiveness has released from all distortion. Let me see your world instead of mine, and all the tears I shed will be forgotten, for their cause is gone. Father, I will not judge your world today. God's world is happy. Those who look on it can only add their joy to it and bless it as a cause of further joy in them. We wept because we did not understand, but we have learned the world we saw was fake, and we will look upon God's world today. And now I will read the commentary by Alan Watson and Robert Perry, if I can find it. Okay, so lesson 301, and God himself shall wipe away all tears. I'm just going to reiterate the practice instructions. So we read the commentary paragraph slowly and personally. Pray the prayer several times. Morning and evening, repeat the idea, then spend time in meditation. Hourly, repeat the idea, and then spend a quiet moment in meditation. And then frequent reminders, repeat the idea often within each hour. Our response to temptation should be to repeat the idea whenever upset to restore peace. And read the What Is section, the What Is the Second Coming section, slowly and thoughtfully once during the day. Practice suggestion from Robert Perry. To make this lesson more personally meaningful, I have used it in a more specific form. First, pick someone whom you are judging, then repeat. And God himself shall wipe away all tears by giving me his world, which I will see when I cease to judge, and then fill in the blank. Commentary. The title of this lesson is a quote from the book of Revelation in the Bible verses 7:17 and 21:4. We've all shed tears in our lives, some more than others. Back in the days when I believed in hell, I used to wonder how God could wipe away my tears when people I knew and loved were in eternal torment. I used to wonder how God could be happy if most of his creatures got snatched by the devil. I guess wondering about that is part of why I don't believe in that stuff anymore. Will you hold that for a second? I need to try to, thank you. I'm sorry. Okay. But how can God wipe away all our tears? When we look around with our normal, i.e. distorted by the ego perception, it seems impossible not to shed at least some tears over the suffering and unfairness of life and death. The Course's answer is that we will not be looking around with that kind of perception at all. We will be looking with a new kind of vision. Unless I judge, I cannot weep. How will he wipe away our tears? by removing all judgment from our minds. We look on the world and we judge it. We judge it to be unfair, unjust, and unfriendly. We judge some to be victimizers and others the victims. Most of all, we judge it all to be real. If sin and suffering are real in the final analysis, then tears are inevitable. But we have learned the world we saw was false. Not real, but false. It is an illusion I have projected. It exists only in my mind. I cannot blame my suffering on it because the only one who has attacked myself is me. The only one who has been unjust is me. I'm seeing the world in a reflection of what I believe I have done in relation to God and my brothers, and nothing more than that. When I learn to forgive the world and to accept atonement for myself, I will no longer see the world this way. Jesus is speaking, it seems, to me from a high place, and he is including me in that place. I am not aware of having learned the unreality of the world yet. The world still seems pretty real to me, and I still weep. The Course assures us that a part of our mind, the only part that has reality and truth, is already awake and already wholly knows that the world we see is false. Jesus symbolizes that part of our minds that is awake. This, however, I do know, based on the promises of the Course, I will see the world this way. There will be a time when I cannot weep, nor can I suffer pain, or feel I am abandoned and unneeded in the world. I can see it that way anytime I choose in the holy instant, and I am learning to allow my perception to be transformed in accord with that vision more and more each day. It seems hypocritical to repeat the prayers in today's lesson saying, "We have learned the world we saw was false." Reconsider that opinion. You might say, "But I don't believe it. Sorry, my dog's licking me. I haven't really learned that. How can I say it?" Of course you don't believe it. That is exactly why you are doing the lessons. If you believed it, you wouldn't need the lesson. Just for an instant, suspend your disbelief. Let yourself imagine how it would feel to know that all the ugliness of the world simply isn't real, that it was nothing but a bad dream, an ugly acid trip, and that nothing really happened. Nothing really was lost, and nobody was really hurt. Only the projected images died. The reality of life was totally unaffected by the dream. Let yourself slip just for a moment into that state of mind. Those little instants will be enough to take you all the way home. And now, if you please close your eyes and join me in the meditation. And God himself shall wipe away all tears. Father, unless I judge, I cannot weep, nor can I suffer pain, or feel I am abandoned and unneeded in the world. This is my home because I judge it not, and therefore it is only what you will. Let me today behold it uncondemned. Through happy eyes, forgiveness has released from all distortion. Let me see your world instead of mine, and all the tears I shed will be forgotten, for their cause is gone. Father, I will not judge your world today, and God himself shall wipe away all tears. you so much for joining with me in that meditation. And now we will read part 1 of What is the Second Coming? This is Alan Watson's commentary. It's on paragraph 1, sentences 1 and 2. The Course's understanding of the Second Coming differs drastically from the teaching of most Orthodox Christian churches. Typically, the term refers to a second physical appearance by Jesus, returning, usually in a supernatural way, in clouds of glory, to be judged and ruler of the world. This section of the workbook redefines the term completely. The Course is notable for the way it redefines and gives new content to nearly every major Christian term it uses. Here, the second coming is 1, the correction of mistakes. Instead of being a cataclysmic event that overthrows the devil, in the battle of Armageddon, the second coming is a gentle correction of our mistaken beliefs in the reality of sin and separation. The old view of the second coming saw evil as a real force with a terrible energy of its own, a will in opposition to God, a will which had to be combated and overcome. The Course, in seeing the second coming as the correction of mistakes, does not see evil as a real force. Darkness is not a thing, a substance. It is merely the absence of light. So evil, in the thought of the Course, is not an opposite to God, but merely a mistake, merely the incorrect idea that an opposite to God could exist. The second coming, then, is simply the correction of that mistaken idea. Nothing needs to be overcome or overthrown. The second coming simply restores the never lost and reestablishes what is forever and forever true. And 2, the return of sanity. All minds that have harbored the insane notion of separation from God will be healed of their delusions. The second coming, in the terminology of the Course, is a corporate event at the end of time. It is the moment when each aspect of the mind of God's Son, which has in insanity believed itself to be a separate being, is fully restored to its awareness of oneness with all the other aspects of the one mind. This corporate aspect is shown by phrases later in this section. A time in which all minds are given to the hands of Christ. The sons of God acknowledge that they all are one. 4:3, my emphasis in both quotes. As long as any part of the one mind is not healed, Christ's wholeness is not manifest. The return to sanity speaks of the entire sonship being restored to the awareness of its oneness. This wholeness aspect of the message of the Course is the motivation for each of us to reach out in healing to the world. Without our brothers, we cannot fully know our identity, for they are all part of it. My brother's healing is my own. No one can be excluded from the circle of atonement. No one is excluded. You are God's Son, one self, with one Creator and one goal, to bring awareness of this oneness to all minds, that true creation may extend the allness and the unity of God. Thank you for joining with me. And I don't know, but it's funny when I think of us as all as one mind, fear comes up in me of losing myself. And I wonder if that occurs to anyone else. And of course that's the ego, but it's interesting to see that. Lesson 301, and God Himself shall wipe away all tears. I love you.